Hi crafty makers, this is Hannah and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to make a card. It's a split card design. It's a design that was developed by Jennifer McGuire after she saw a card that was created by another card maker on Pinterest. And I can't remember her name right now, but I'll find it and I'll put it in the link down below. Uh, Today I'm going to do something a little different than I've been doing with my split cards. And Jennifer always says it's easier for people to visualize what you're doing if they can see the finished card first. So I'm going to show you one of my finished split cards. I said one, but we're crafters, and so we like to show off our cards. So this one, um, I really like this one called Friends, and these cards are all going to one individual. And this card that I'm going to be working on tonight is going to her as well. I need to finish her stationery box and put everything together and send it to her. So this was my friend's card. I liked the way this one turned out. Um, and I used like the borderabilities die to cut this real pretty frame here, and then I just used a scallop bottom and cut a piece of, if you can see this, a piece of designer paper that matched the colors that were in my image to finish that one off. And then on the inside I just put a little small sheet of white paper to write on. So that's one. This was my second one. My first split card that I made was made for a client, and so that's, I don't have that anymore. That went out. It was really nice. It had a lot of critters on it, but I like this one. I used a penny black stamp. It's an old stamp set, and you can find it out there on the net. I think I found it for $5 for there's a set. So and this one was real easy, and I wanted it to be simple. And on this one I just added a little bling. So there's bling on the right here on the little poodle, and there's bling on her cap. This little poodle, I had a little miniature toy poodle named AWOL because we got him when we were in the Army, and he was so tiny he was really always disappearing. So we named him Sergeant AWOL Harris. And when I was coloring this image, I thought about AWOL because that's what he looked like. But anyway, this was a real simple one, and you could see more of the vellum. And then on the inside, I just did a simple sentiment, a little flower, put a little bit of bling there, and that was that one. And this one I just finished night before last. Yeah, because yeah, for a team, I'm on a design team, and we needed to do a great outdoors theme, and so I thought about bees, and I created this card in the split card design. I really, really like this style of card, and I think I'll be making a lot of cards like this. So just adopt this as my go-to style for making cards. Okay, so that's what we're going for. Okay, so for this particular card, what I'm doing differently is that I'm not using a colored panel, cardstock panel. I'm going to use paper that I created. So rather than having a blank page like this, I'm going to have this so that it will show through the split card design. Okay, so, and this this technique of using the sort of rainbow colors with stencils, I watched a video by Ann Butler. Ann Butler is another one of my favorite designers. She and Jennifer McGuire, I watch a lot of their videos and I get a lot of inspiration from them. So that's what inspired me for this design. Okay, so let's talk about what you're going to need in order to make this card. Let me get my elements up here. Okay, so you're going to need a paper trimmer, bone folder, your scoreboard, your piercing tool, your die cutting machine, obviously. But for your paper supplies, you're going to need to cut 2 pieces of white cardstock to 4 3/4 by 4 1/4. Then that's these 2 pieces that I have here. So you'll need 2 of those. You'll need 2 pieces of vellum, and I'm using shimmer vellum for mine. This is sort of like a white shimmer vellum, but you can use just plain vellum. It doesn't matter. And you're going to cut your vellum pieces 4 1/4 inches wide by 5 1/2, and that's just the regular A2 size. So just cut those down to A2 size. You're going to need colored cardstock. So normally you could do both of these pieces the same as I did on my other cards, but like I said, for this one I'm switching it up. So for the piece that is going to be the very back of your card, so this is the very back of my card. This piece here this is a separate piece. If you look around there, you can see. So you're going to cut, in my instance, this is my A2 size. So this will actually be the back of my card base. So it's just 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. That's the size we all use. And then this one, you're just going to cut, I'm going to cut a piece of this that captures all the colors, and I'm going to cut it down to 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. Now, the stencil that I use to do this, let me take my little tag off here for right now. Okay, this is a Heidi Swapp 6x6 stencil, and I actually just cut a piece of 110-pound cardstock down to 6x6 size and put the stencil on it, and then I just used some purple tape to tape it down. I've ordered some pixie spray so that I can spray my stencils and put them down and not have any trouble pulling them up. But taping is good. I'm trying not to spend money, and I have purple tape, a lot of it here, and other masking tape. So I'm trying not to spend money, but the pixie spray looked like it would be a good investment since I'm planning on using a lot of my old stencils, and so I think that'll work. Before I made this rainbow background, because I don't know what else to call it, I made a cheat sheet. I went through one of the other things that I'm doing. Well, I've been doing it since 2018. I started like in September of 2018 and through 2019 and now into 2020. I don't buy dies, stamps, stencils, embossing folders. I'm not buying that stuff. No flowers, no embellishments, no ribbon, none of that. I am only using things that are in my stash. I'm really not even buying inks. I would love to get more of the Tim Holtz oxide inks. I only have 12. But the problem with that for me is that I bought all the colors of his regular distress ink, and half of those, more than half of those, I haven't used. So I decided in 2018 that I'm going to save my money, and I'm not going to buy things just because they're trending. I'm going to buy what I can use, and I'm going to use what I've already bought. So what I did to get my rainbow colors, I went through some inks that I've had, believe it or not, since 2010. So 10 years. Yeah, 2010 is when I got them. So I've had these for 10 years. And these were Inka Dinka Do washable inks. And so these are the ones that you could use on fabric, and then you can wash it, and the ink is set and it won't come off. I think you have to heat set it. I don't remember, it's been a while, but I do think that you have to heat set these in order just to make sure that your color is set. So I pulled out these 10-year-old pads, and I went through to see how many of them worked. And I took my Heidi Swapp stencil and just put it down and made little sections. And then if you can see here my cheat sheet, and I always try to make cheat sheets when I'm working on projects. So I took this cheat sheet and I put a B, because the person I'm making this card for, her name is Belinda. So I just put a B on the colors that I'm going to use. And so this is 10-year-old ink, and I think it came out pretty good. The only ink on here that's not Inka Dinka Do 10-year-old ink is the yellow, and that is Tim Holtz Distress Oxide, and it is the Squeeze Lemonade. So, oops, there we go. So that's what the yellow is. But all the others are these guys that were in my stash. So I think if you take the time to go through your stash, you'll find that you have everything that you need. Okay, so those are all the paper supplies that you will need for this project. Stamping supplies, you're going to need rubber stamps or digital images. If you use a digital image, just size it to your project. I decided that I wanted to go with this big elephant, and I don't know who this is by, but I have the elephant and I have the die. And so I thought, well, I'm going to use him and the balloon and the gift package to create the scene on the front of my card. I may just use the elephant and the balloon. I may not use the gift package. It just depends on what happens when I start trying to put this together. When you're sizing your digital images, remember that it needs to be big enough to bridge the gap in your split, because that is what will be holding those two panels and your vellum. You'll be attaching that to your vellum, holding them in place. So just keep that in mind if you're resizing a digital stamp. Okay, then obviously your sentiment stamp. I'm going to use a sentiment from the stamp set I just showed you. I'll use one of the birthday sentiments that came with that. You'll need alcohol markers or colored pencils in order to color your image. Glitter pen is optional. I like putting Wink of Stella on everything. And what I've done, because like I said, I'm not spending money on unnecessary things, so I had some iridescent watercolor medium, and I just took that and got a syringe and took my Wink of Stella pen apart. I put water in there and squirted the medium in there, and it looks just like regular clear Wink of Stella. So that's what I'm using, and it works great. So you can decide what you want to do with yours. You might want to use glossy accents to give dimension to the eyes. It's up to you. So decide what you want to do and have those things ready. And then of course you'll need border dies to cut the curved section of my split card. So here, like you see this section, but I started using them to make cute borders at the bottom as well, or to put, like on this one, I particularly liked this border. I cut the cloud die first, and then I went back and cut and embossed that top side. So here are just some of the ones I use. They don't always have to be curved. You just decide what you want to do and how you want your edges to look. Like I use the bottom edge of this die for one of my panels because I liked the cut that it gave me. And then these are just the regular spellbinders, boardable, I don't know, and edgeabilities. Yeah. So, but like I said, I use this one. I turned it like this way and cut my vellum so that it would poke out. You just have to be creative with whatever you have. You know, I've used this one on a previous card to cut a nice broad border. So I was just playing around with it. And then of course these are like the traditional borders that you might want to cut. So you have your cutting edge and you have your decorative edge. Just decide which one you're going to use and have that ready to do your project. Okay, so gather all your supplies and I'll come back and we will start on our card. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our 4 3/4 inch by 4 1/4 inch sheet of paper and we're going to score it at 1/2 inch on the 4 1/4 inch side, so on the short side. I'm going to score here at 1/2 inch. And I'm using a big ball because this is the heavy duty paper. And we're going to do both of these that way. Okay. And then when you've done that, we're going to burnish those folds. So just make sure you get a good clean fold. I'll do this one. Okay, so once you have those scored, you're going to take your edge dies. So make sure that you keep the fold is going to be to your left. Okay, so take your edge dies, whatever design you've decided you're going to use, and position it at the very bottom of your top panel and at the very top of your bottom panel. And so you have one design for your card flaps and you'll have another design for your vellum. So I'm going to use this cloud die for my vellum. Before my flap, I want to use this die. So this is not a cutting edge. This is just going to be a decorative edge here. And the cutting edge, oops, lost my thing. The cutting edge is going to be these. So get down. So this will go down, and I hope I did this right. The last time I cut it so wrong. You want to make sure when you're using these dies, and normally I would put it on my media mat and line it up. I'm going to just eyeball this because I've used this enough that I think that it's right. So this is the bottom. This is my bottom piece. So I'm going to put down my dies, run over to my Big Shot, cut, and then I will be right back. Okay, so now I've got my flaps cut with the design that I want in each one. On my bottom, I've got this really pretty cutout, and it has some embossing on it. You can't really see it. I guess I could adjust the lighting or zoom. You might be able to see it a little better. Let's see. I usually go the wrong way. So, but up in here, there's embossing, and there's actually a little embossing on this edge. And what I've done here is I've positioned my vellum inside these flaps. It's not down. It's there temporarily. I was just trying to get an idea of how I wanted the vellum to look. So I'm using my cloud die here, and then this same die here to cut the vellum for up here. So I'm going to go and cut that. So that's what you need to do. Do that, and then we'll come back and we'll decide the spacing on our design. So this is what I'm going to do with my vellum. I've positioned it the length that I want it to peek out from behind my white card. So I've got purple tape on there to hold it in place, just a temporary hold. Once you've gotten that done, the next thing that you're going to do is that you're going to take your back panel, and which for me is my, and I'm going to cut this down, but right now I just want to see what it looks like. So this is here across the top, and I will, like I said, cut it down so I can see the distance and what will be showing through the back of my card. And so what's going to be showing when I cut it, I'm going to cut it to try to capture all these colors. But if I don't, I'll just use it for something else. At this point, your image should already be colored. So if you want to play with the placement, now would be the time, because that will help you determine if you need to do something else on your panel. I'm going to leave my panel white because I'm putting the yellow paper behind it. So I don't want to have too much going on, and I still have to do a placement for my balloon and for my sentiment. So I play with it here. I'd say if my balloon's going to be there, and I'll draw a little string and then figure out where. At first I was going to let him hold the package, like he had the package and his little hooves. I guess that's what they have. I'm not sure that I'm going to do that, but that was my original idea, was to do it like that. And I'll probably move this balloon down a little bit, and I'll play with the package. The package may sit here above my sentiment. That is the design part, and you just have to figure that out. But if you're doing a background on your panel the way I am, you can flip it and see which direction you think is going to work best for you. And this would be the point where you would make that decision. So I wouldn't recommend cutting your panel until you've played with all sides. And then once you've played with all sides of your panel and looking at the colors and what peeks through, like, I really like that. I like that one, and I think I may cut it so that that is what shows. I like that it grabs the pink. I like that there's a little green in there. So, like I said, that's a design decision. This is the time to, make all of those decisions, and then you can start taping down and cutting. So I'm going to cut my card down to size, and then I'm going to come back and show you how to attach your panels to the back of your card. Now, if you are sure what you're going to do at this point, you know where you want your sentiment and you know all that. I'm not that kind of designer. I never know where anything's going to go until I get out my trusty dusty. These are the most important things in my, let's see, can you see them? You can't see them because they're all the way over there. These are the most important items in my craft studio. I can't craft without my pin curl clips because they hold everything together for me. I always do a mock-up of my cards before I glue anything down. I've spoiled too many orders for clients by gluing stuff down, and then it's like I gotta start all over again, and it's just awful. So I started years and years ago of using these pin curl clips, and I just clip everything before I glue anything down. I clip it all on, and I stand the card up and I look at it to make sure that it looks the way I want it to look, and then I feel comfortable moving forward with it. So that's just a little something you might want to consider. I have other larger things for big pieces, and this, if I can slide this down, my husband made this for me. It's like a block of wood. It's maybe like half an inch thick, and then he put these clamps. You can see this clamp right here, and it holds things down for me. And when I'm doing a lot of blending on my cards, when I certain things that were just sliding around on me, I'm like, no, I'm married to an engineer. He needs to figure this out. And I can tighten it. He has these little butterfly clamps on here, so I can tighten things, tighten the pressure on here. And he glued down my cutting board so I can do cutting on here. It's like a wonderful little work center. But anyway, I just wanted to show that to you because he's proud of it and I love it too. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut my card and come back, and we'll work toward getting done. No, don't fall between there. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, once you have determined the distance that you want for your split on your card, because you know we have to keep it to this size, you're going to take a piece of double-sided tape, and I think this is the right size. Yeah. Put it and then extend past there, and I'll cut it off. And don't stretch the tape. Just let it go down naturally, because if you stretch it, it's going to cause your card to buckle. And it's a good idea not to have it moving all over the place. I just allow mine to extend beyond the edges. I should have used, I thought that was my 1/2 inch. Now I've got to, before I tear this, go back and get my distance straight again. Yeah, that's it. And let me pull that one down a little bit. Okay, so once you know that that's what you're going to do, then you can put down your tape for this flap. So you're going to do this with both of your flaps. This double-sided tape that I'm using, I get it on Amazon, and I'll try to put the list of products down at the bottom, down below on the video. But you get like 6 for $8 or something like that. And it has, it's different sizes. And it has such an aggressive hold. I love it because you have to be careful. Usually I put it down with glue, because once it's down, it's down and you know you don't have a oops moment. So what I normally do when I'm using this is that I will put glue on top of it, and the glue helps. I was looking for the other size tape. I'm going to use 2 of these. The glue gives you some oops time, so you can sort of move things around and make sure that they're where you really want them to be. And that's, see, because my card just moved, so I'm going to have to, once I get this down, get it straight again. Oh, darn it. Okay, so here we go. Okay. Let me look. I had it sort of evenly spaced. There, I think that's it. When you're first doing this, it looks like you're going to have all of this white space, and you're like, whoa, Lord, how am I going to fill up all that white space? But you don't have to worry about that, because you're not going to have all of that white space when you get through cutting all of this down to size, which we're about to do as soon as I can get this release paper off of here. Ta-da! Got that one. And now if we can just get this one. I probably should have used my other pokey tool, but here, that's got it. Now make sure it's straight. We're going to do some trimming. Just make sure that you're happy with everything, that everything is straight before you glue this down, because like I said, once it's down, it is down. Okay, so once you have glued all of this down, and keep the this tape on your vellum, you're going to trim it down to size. So you put it on your trimmer and just line it up with the bottom of your card here. Okay. Take that off and turn it around. Line this side up. Yeah, we just use that little wire that's on the Fiskars. If you don't use Fiskars, whatever the alignment tool is on your trimmer, trim that. Okay, so now you have something that looks like this. Okay. I'm trying to, yeah. There we go. Get that back so you can see it. Okay, so you have this, and that is your card front. Now, this is where you will now decide what you're going to do in terms of your sentiment. Now, I don't know what happened with that. It's a little bit off. And it's a little bit shorter than I wanted it, but that's okay. I just need to trim this a little bit. The other thing I love about this works table that the Hubster made for me is because I have a cutting table here, so I can kind of do everything right here. Okay, I need to trim this side, now to make sure that there's no overlap there. So line this up and make sure it's straight. Okay. And now you have a perfect size. You have the perfect size to go onto your what's going to be the back of your card. And for me, it's going to be this yellow sheet. So I'm not going to stick it down right now, but this is what. Ooh, what did I must have cut something wrong here, because this isn't quite long enough. They're both the same size. I don't know how I managed to do that, but anyway, I'm going to have to cut another sheet of yellow paper, but you can get an idea of what my card is going to look like. It's going to have about 1/8 of an inch around it in the yellow and the yellow balloon, and that's why I put yellow in my gift package, you know. And my little elephant, I have to be careful with him because I just put glossy accent on his eyes and it needs time to dry. So now I don't have as much real estate to work with. So the balloon may be there, the package here, and the sentiment may go at the top as opposed to the bottom. I'll have to play with it and see. But right now I'm going to go and cut a bigger piece of yellow cardstock so that I can show you how to attach the base. Be right back. Okay, so I solved that mystery. I had picked up the wrong piece of yellow cardstock because I knew that I had cut it to the right size. So then now you can see how this will fit onto the card like this, and then you get your border all the way around. So to make this happen, you flip your card over, and like I said, if you're going to stamp your sentiment on, you want to do that first. So but then you're going to flip this over and you're going to put score tape here, 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 diagonally, and then put glue on top of it. And I'm going to stamp my sentiment and come back and show you how to put this on your base. Alright, so I've loaded up my Tim Holtz stamp platform. And this is my little traveler size. I use this, well, I actually haven't used my large one yet. Ever since I got them, I've been using this little one. And I'm glad I found, in case anything happens to my big Tim Holtz stamp platform, I found a comparable one on Amazon that works just as well. So I'm feeling good about that. Okay, so I'm going to stamp this, put a little pressure on here. Okay, and I'm going to stamp it again because I want it a little darker. Okay, and now that I've got that stamped, I need to reach over here and get my, hold on just a second, yeah, I need to get my Versamark. I forgot that. So I'm going to clean my stamp, and then I'm going to put down my, you know, don't pay any attention to my Versamark pad. I've had that too for a number of years, and I just keep refilling it, and it works just fine. Just fine. So I'm not a cheapskate. I'm really not. It's just, I just think that sometimes in this hobby you get carried away because you see the professionals on the professional design teams, and they're making all these wonderful things, and they're promoting these stamps and this, and you just get caught up and you just have to have that, and you forget that they're getting their products for free and you're having to pay for yours, so you're going into debt and they're not. So you have to learn how to exercise restraint. If you have like I have a Gemini cutting machine, because even though I have a Big Shot Plus, a Big Shot Pro, two Big Shot Standards, I have a neuromuscular disease that when I'm in a flare, I sometimes can't crank those. So, the Hubster got me the Gemini um, for those times. Since I've been in remission, I haven't really had to use it. But, I mean, I don't see the value in me spending $259 or whatever those new Geminis cost just to get one in rose gold. I mean, it'll collect dust in my studio, so because I got one over there already collecting dust. So you have to make these decisions based on your budget and how you craft. If you are one of those independently wealthy human beings, or you're making a couple of $100,000 a year or whatever, and you can afford to do that, then by all means, you can buy everything out there in the store. But I don't have it like that, and even if I did, I still wouldn't. I can think of better things to do with my money. So I'm not cheap, I'm just cautious. Okay, I'm going to go and emboss this, and I'll be right back. Okay, now that I have my sentiment embossed, and I do this just to make it darker, so I'll stamp it and then I stamp it again with Versamark, and I emboss it with clear embossing powder, and it gives it that raised feel, and I like that too. So what I need to do now, I am going to, because this is just here in a temporary state, so I'm going to take my glue runner and go across here to attach my vellum. Now that's that panel, and so now I can take this purple tape up and stick it on my lamp where it lives, and lift this up from here. You think you're slick, but stay right there where you belong. And now that's stuck down. And if there's any, well, mine is in little squares, but if you can't get it off, you can just trim it like so and get that off. Okay, and so now you can take your purple tape off of here. All right, turn it over. Get your double-sided tape. You're going to put a strip all the way across this spine portion of your card. Around here. Okay, so I was telling you guys that I'm not a miser, and I'm not, but a long time ago I used to have this sign that I kept on my desk at work, and it said, I refuse to spend money I don't have, buying things I don't need, trying to impress people I don't like. And so I've kind of kept that as a mantra in my head. I don't think, I just need to be able to make cards that my friends and family like and appreciate. And when people actually hire me to make cards, as long as I do a good job of finishing the cards and they're pleased with the project, they don't care how old my stamp is. They don't care if I did it on a Cricut, a Silhouette, a Gemini. They don't really care how I did it. They just want to get what they paid for. And if you can do that with what's in your stash, it even increases your profit. So if I have to buy anything to complete a project for a client, if I have to buy a die, I include the cost of that die in my pricing. You know, and that keeps me on my crafty diet. I don't consider that I've broken my challenge if I have to buy something and someone's paying me for it, you know. So just something to think about. Now, I need to glue this down. This is the best glue that you can get. Let me turn it the right way. It's the Books by Hand pH neutral PVA glue. It doesn't gum up on you. It flows easily. I just love it. I got into bookbinding a couple of years back, and I was looking for a glue that wouldn't buckle and pucker, and this is it. This is the glue. The only thing is when they, oops, now that's too much, and you don't need a lot of this. I always like go overboard. I have some in one of those little needle nose applicators, but you know what it's like. If I could lay my hands on it right now, I would, but I can't, so I ain't. All right. So you put your glue on there. Try not to put as much glue as I did. And then you just center this where you want it to be. Jennifer McGuire has a trick for centering it on release paper that that you pull other things off of. And I think it's a great trick, but whenever I get something that's on release paper, I always forget to save the release paper, and I end up throwing it in the trash. So, okay. So now this is down. Where's my, there. And get my baby wipe and clean my hands. So, and I keep a lot of wet paper towels as well as my baby wipes and water in a spray container so I can sort of moisten my little paper towel when it dries up. Okay, so now this is, whoa, don't you dare stick down to that. So this is the inside of your card, and that's your card base, and you are now ready to attach your images on the front of your card. I still need to trim a little of my glue runner that overran the page. Okay, and get that off of there, because we definitely don't want this to stick to your card. That would not be cool. Let's see. Will you cut? I need to put some alcohol. When you get gunk on your scissors, if you take rubbing alcohol, it'll clean it right up. I usually clean mine first with the baby wipe and then with the alcohol. So this is the inside of my card, and I think I'm going to stamp a little baby elephant on the inside and just put a happy birthday there. I can't really put my elephant down because his eyes are not dry yet. And you know how you get that glossy accents down. If you start messing with it too much, it'll run around, and then you have something that doesn't look so good. But I'm going to put my present right here. I'm going to move him over just a smidgen. He doesn't have to be centered. He can be off center because we've got the balloon to balance it out. I am going to put the balloon here, and then I'm going to just take my pen. I just had it. Don't know what I did with it. But anyway, oh, here it is. I'm going to take my micron pen. I don't know that I'm going to use this one. This is a 03, so I'm probably going to use a 5 and just draw a little line, squiggly line to come down behind him. Get everybody down, and we should be done. But I'll come back. I'm going to try to use my heat gun to speed up the drying of my little elephant, as my kids used to say when they were little. Elephant. So I'll do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here is my finished card. His eyes still have to dry, and when they dry, they will be black. Right now they're gray, but the lady for whom I'm doing this card, we're giving her this card, and we're doing a checkbook. We're going to make it, and we have a gold stamping machine, so my husband's going to set that up, and we're going to gold stamp her name on the checkbook that we're making for her. I'm going to put a little elephant on there, and we're giving her cash as a gift. So we're going to go to the bank, and we're going to get brand new $1 bills in the amount of money that we're giving her, and we're going to glue them across the back, and then she can peel them off when she goes to the store. So, but anyway, there it is done. I put glitter on my little elephant. I don't know if you can see that. If I can hold still long enough for that to focus. And so he's all glittery, the package is glittery, the balloon is glittery. I put some craft foam behind the balloon so that it would be elevated. And I did another box and put it underneath it just to give it some dimension. And I did actually draw a line from my balloon, but it covered it up with his ear once I had to center him between here. So let's see, I might be able to draw another. You know what, I'm gonna leave it. I don't know. I may try it later, but right now I think I'm going to leave it. Just oops. Wait, guys, where do you go? Okay, I got stuff all over. And also on the inside, I stamped, you can see him, a little baby elephant in coordinating ink, and at the top it says "You're unforgettable." So there he is. He's all done. I'll turn him this way. He's all done. I like him. And it makes a really cute split card, I think. And I think the background enhances it. And so I can't wait for his little eyes to get dry and go black. And then they will be black once they're dry. I hope that you were able to make this project, or if you were just watching the video, I hope that you will make this project. They're a lot of fun to do, and you can use all kinds of images and create all kinds of scenes using them. Thanks so much for stopping by, and I hope you'll come back again. Bye.